So
Hi.
you have 6 proven veteran receivers. You got some talented young guys, obviously, here as well. How tough is this going to be to whittle this down to whatever number the franchise needs to whittle it down to on Labor Day?
It's going to be really tough. It's when you have a situation like I have, that's what you want anyway. You want it to be tough. You want to make sure that you're putting pressure with the guys that were already here to keep them getting better and improving on their skill set. And then you want the young guys to be talented enough to be able to push those guys, and if anything, maybe even overtake them at some point too. So it's really good competition at the group. Like you said, it's pretty deep. I'm excited about. I like our young talent with the young guys that we brought in. I think when we added Allen a couple days ago, that's good veteran talent that he's here, along with the other guys that were older that were already here. So it's a good mix. It's a good mix of guys that are trying to fight for some spots. And you're right, there's only shortly a little more than a handful of guys we're going to end up keeping, and there's 10 guys or 11 guys out there, so they're all fighting for a spot.
And your first 3 months with Devontae, how do you think he's looked? Has there been an emphasis on maybe trying to high point the ball, to use his size to his advantage?
Absolutely. That's definitely part of it. He's a guy that, he does create some problems because of his size, and that's some of the stuff that he's been improving on in the offseason that you guys have noted. But, there's a lot of other things that I want him to be good at as well. So, if he's going to be a dynamic player in this league, he's got to be multifaceted in a lot of different ways. And he's accepted that challenge. He wants to do that. He wants to be that type of player. And I'm very excited about how he progressed to this point, and now we're trying to get him ready to play.
Karl, what are you looking to see out of Jakeem, Albert, and Allen early in camp as they're coming back from injuries?
All of those guys are kind of transitioning at different levels back from injury, like you mentioned, and I'm pleased with their efforts and how they're trying to get back. They're all at different stages about where they're at, but Jakeem, you mentioned early, in your question, he's doing really well. He's had, of those 3 guys, he's had most of the reps so far in camp, and he's really kind of, surprising us and doing the things that we already saw him do, in his past. But to fit himself in our offense and be able to do some of the things that we're asking him to do, he's been doing those things pretty well. Albert's doing well too. From where he was late in the spring into where he is now, he's getting on the field. He's kind of where actually Jakeem was in the spring, just kind of gradually picking up the pace as we go. Albert's doing that. He's in that mode right now, and he's he'll be ready to go, and I think in due time as well. And then Allen's actually recovered. He's full, ready to go. Obviously, he's trying to get himself back in playing shape and tuning up his game. So it's good to have a good veteran presence like him. So I'm, like I said earlier when we opened this whole discussion, I'm very pleased with the level of veteranship in this group and the young players in this group.
Karl, obviously Stills can play boundary and slot. You obviously have Hearns now in slot as well. Do you see value for Stills in the slot? He's done a lot of good work from that position.
Absolutely, and he's done those things before. And Kenny's kind of our versatile player where we can play inside and out, and he has the speed to do that. And he's accepted that, and he understands what we're trying to get out of him in our offensive scheme. So we have just a lot of options. That's really what needs to be said, is that we have some guys with different size levels. You guys had mentioned like Preston at 6'4½". He's a big kid, and obviously Devontae's a big kid. So we just have a good range of players from big to small and all different speeds and different skill sets. So it's fun for me as their position coach. It's a fun problem to have. It really is.
I know you guys don't want to make any kind of excuses. When you do have new quarterbacks working with the receivers, is there a learning curve that you have to allow for a little bit there?
Absolutely. I mean, you're right. We're not going to make any excuses about that. And there is. We're sometimes as receivers, you got to get used to the different arm in terms of how the ball comes off his hand. The timing and how he throws, and then on the quarterback perspective is that he's getting used to a different group of receivers that he's not quite used to throwing to. So there is some timing that both sides of the coin need to work on to get better. And that's why we practice, and that's why they do the little extra work that they do after practice, is try to get on the same page about what it should time up to be and what it should look like, and also to point out some ideas about how to run a route, or this is where I want the ball when you throw this route. You know what I mean? So I think there's some learning curve on both sides of that.